Today on CityCast Nashville, get the kids out of the room because we're talking about one of Music City's most infamous murders. And I'm so lucky to be joined by my dear friends, Henry Zebrowski and Ed Larson from the acclaimed true crime podcast, Last Podcast on the Left. And hey, y'all, just a heads up, this episode is not our usual. It's quite grisly and contains some profanity. So turn down the lights and get ready to learn about the dark history of Skull's Rainbow Room in Printer's Alley. It's Thursday, March 13th. I'm your host, Marie Cecil Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Ed Larson.
Hello.
Henry Zebrowski.
Hi, hello, Nashville.
Officially welcoming you all to CityCast Nashville. I have to just say up front, we have worked tirelessly on the integrity of our show here. And I do feel a little bit like we're just throwing it out the window, inviting y'all on today, which I don't care. You know what, you guys, we've gone back 16 years, y'all.
Yeah.
Back to New York City. I am so happy to have y'all on. You are coming back to the Ryman Auditorium for the second time. Not many people can say they've been invited back. So how does that feel, first off?
I'm very surprised they're having us back because it seemed like we had made some people upset.
People have noticed our content because at the time we called it last year, we called it I think it was 2 years ago, we called it a jamboree of sorts. And then people arrived to the Ryman expecting it to be a jamboree. And in fact, what they got was a series of some of the more controversial takes on the police, the religion, God himself, the building, the state.
We're free thinkers
the
over
food,
here.
the music. And then I think once it got to that point, there was a group of people with big hats on that thought it was going to be another type of show and they had to leave. But now that's why we're doing this and we're talking directly to the city of Nashville. We mean no harm. We know for a fact that Hot Chicken's a prank that you have orchestrated against the entire United States of America.
Come on.
I know that you've done this to us on purpose, but otherwise we're fine.
Yeah. Now, you were on our show at the Ryman last year, too, and you did not offend anybody, and I want to condemn you.
Condemn you.
Condemn me for me.
I condemn you. How dare you?
Singing I'll Fly Away. How dare you in that institution. No, it really was such an honor. And for someone being from Nashville, it truly was my dream since birth to perform there. And so thanks to y'all, I was able to grace that historic stage.
It was amazing.
I do want to ask, so for listeners at home who do not know what Last Podcast on the Left is, what do you tell people in the wild when they ask you what your show is about?
Last Podcast on the Left is a show created by parents for children in order to teach children. We do a show called Last Podcast on the Left, and it is a true crime, paranormal comedy show that goes into all topics, dark and macabre. We go from all the way from evil history, like the history of cults and various, like we just covered the Batavia shipwreck, and then we go to serial killers, which we cover, we've covered Jeffrey Dahmer and all what we call big hitters in the past. We also cover aliens and just news of the weird.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for 15 years.
Anything from Heaven's Gate to Bigfoot, we love it, as long as it's goofy
and bloody.
And bloody, yeah.
Well, so the reason why y'all are here is because not only you're coming back to the Ryman, but I wanted to share a murder.
Yay!
A Nashville murder. You guys usually are the ones to do all the work. I said, hey guys, take a load off. I'm going to do all this research. And so I'm going to tell you about the famous murder of Skull from Skull's Rainbow Room.
Okay.
So let's set the stage. We're back in the early 19th century Nashville, in an area of town that currently is between 3rd and 4th Avenue, as we know today. But back then, it was referred to as Printer's Alley.
Oh.
Now, can you guess why it was called that?
Because they're just making money.
Yeah, that's where Dr. Kinko's was living. Mr. Kinko's. I didn't go to 9 years of printer school to be called Mr. Kinko's.
Oh my. All right, so Mr. Kinko's was there.
Yep. That's how good the show's
nailed
going to
it.
be at the Ryman. That is
my
how
gosh.
good the material is going to be
The
at this
historical
show.
accuracy.
Just so good. Not bottom of the barrel. Certainly not just what I could randomly scrape out of my weed-encrusted mind.
All right. Okay. So Mr. Kinko's. So he was there. Yes. The main hub for the city's largest newspapers in town. For the Banner, that's a big paper. It still exists today. And the Tennessean. So they were printing off papers. And fun fact, which I find exhilarating, some may find absolutely boring, but President Andrew Jackson used to tie up his horse on a post in that alley.
Ooh.
It was actually kind of weird that he did it with like handcuffs.
Yeah.
Super weird. Horse is just upright, tied up like this. Hooves above its head.
Yeah, what did
Crazy.
the horse do? That poor thing.
I don't know. So all these gentlemen had their horses down there and they were making papers. And so by 1915, there were 13 publishers and 10 printers. So Prohibition was 1920 through 1933. So as you guessed it, a lot of men were gathering around there to do their newspaper shit. And then what do you think started popping up with all those gentlemen?
Brothels.
Look at my eyebrows. Ooh.
Yeah.
There's strip clubs, there were speakeasies, there was lots of gambling, a lot of door knocking.
One time I was in D.C. and we went to this place. It was called Prohibition Whiskey, and the guys made such a big deal about how they had some of the oldest whiskey in the country, and it was nice. He brought it out. We had some of the Prohibition era whiskey, and it was gross.
Of course it was.
no.
Yeah, it's 100 years old.
It's very medicinal. It tastes like turpentine.
I mean, they were making it in bathtubs and in shoes and buckets and barrels and caves, and I don't know. That's all I know about Prohibition.
It gets you G'd up, though.
Yeah. You know, it's a good way to remember the Prohibition amendments. This is not funny, but just interesting.
Oh, okay.
The 18th Amendment took away drinking, and the 21st Amendment brought it back. So you're 21 when you can drink. And so it's a nice easy hack to remember it.
Wow.
There you
Look
go.
at that.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that makes you smarter or dumber, but it exists.
It is interesting.
Well, believe it or not, you couldn't serve individual cocktails in Nashville until 1967.
What?
The fuck?
Because of the Bible.
Oh, that
Bible
old
Belt
rag.
times.
Yeah.
That old gal. Yep.
Whatever happened to the Bible?
Yeah, what's doing with the Bible these days?
Did it get replaced with Lord of the Rings?
I could do a remake of the Bible with Adrian Brody.
There was actually, I love this, there was a brothel in Nashville called the Climax Saloon,
Ooh.
which was also my nickname in college.
Whoa!
Kidding. It was all the way Anderson.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, it was
but
great.
also the idea of a climax saloon seems to be the saddest place in the world because you know what a man's like after he climaxes. It's the sad reality that comes over everything, and I feel like that's got to be the saddest moment to meet a man.
Who's meeting anyone in that moment? You would have met them moments before.
The climax saloon.
Oh,
You have to also understand there's going to be a post-climax.
Oh, that's
pool
how you
area.
get in. That's how you
Yes.
get in. Okay, I see. This is unusable. What are we doing?
No,
here?
it's all
This is
right.
about,
wonderful.
they're going to come to the Ryman. They're going to come and see the show.
March 14th. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
They're coming to the show.
Well, speaking of the Ryman, the Grand Ole Opry started broadcasting live from the Ryman Auditorium in 1943. And then in 1948, during this heyday of the Grand Ole Opry, the world-famous Skoll's Rainbow Room opened in Printer's Alley, thanks to a man named David Skoll Schulman. And he got the nickname Skoll because he cracked his little noggin in a car accident.
Oh.
Past performers of the Ryman and Skoll's Rainbow Room include Elvis, Jimi Hendrix, Tanya Tucker, Pointer
Wow.
Sisters, Johnny Cash, The Supremes, Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, Paul McCartney, and then we cannot forget about all the exotic dancers that also performed there. Probably not at the Opry, but yes, at Skulls. So just imagine this incredible, lively, speakeasy type place. The house comedian was Andy Griffith.
Whoa! That's pretty awesome.
Neat? Yeah. So Skull had quite the reputation in town, especially for Printer's Alley. He was like the mayor of Printer's Alley. He would walk around with his poodles, and he always, in the 50 years he was there, he had many poodles, and he always had them named Sugar or Sweetie, no matter which one it was.
That's cute.
And Elvis was known to have sent him a poodle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
in a crate?
I don't know.
In a pink Cadillac.
Listen, next time you're going to want to poke some holes in the box. Hey now, brother, I'm going to tell you something, all right? There ain't no reason to put 5 poodles in one box, okay? All right, come on, give us some room. There's like one time I bought a llama. I was trying to send that little kid, Michael Jackson. I tried to send him a little llama, and he couldn't fit in the tube.
Darn things can't eat a peanut butter banana sandwich. Sticks to the roost of their mouths.
I once shot a chimpanzee in the head with a rifle. That was just fun.
Elvis.
That was fun for me. Sorry, Dollface.
That was after he became a police officer, of course.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes I go down to the zoo for target practice.
Well, another fun fact about these poodles is Skull would dye them pink or blue, or for Christmas, he'd dye his own poodles like red and green, and he always had rhinestone leashes for them. And so I don't know. I think that really sets this scene for who this person was walking around downtown.
A walking target
poodles.
With a big target on his back, waiting to get shot, ready to get murdered. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
No.
Guy who's asking for it.
Well, in 1969, Hee Haw premiered just a couple blocks away at the CBS station. And so I think this is really neat. They would have the Hee Haw after parties at Skull's Rainbow Room.
That must have been so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't want to be a pair of overalls in that room. There's something about that. I don't know, man. I feel like that has got to be some rootin'. Tootin' going on.
Yeah.
A rootin' tootin'. Good time.
Would you say that since you've been in Nashville, you've rooted or tooted?
I have been roofied, yes. And
no!
Oh, God, that's called getting rooted and then tooted.
And then
we'll cut this out. We'll cut it
out. Only in Nashville. My favorite place in Nashville to take friends from out of town is the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. It makes me feel so proud to be able to show off our city's country music roots. But y'all, it's not just a tourist attraction. Did you know that local kids always visit free at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum? Kids age 18 and under who are residents of Davidson and bordering counties, including Cheatham, Robertson, Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson, can take advantage of all the engaging and educational activities the museum has to offer this spring at no cost. Plus, they can bring 2 accompanying adults who get 25% off admission. I love the museum's Taylor Swift Education Center. They've got music, dance, art programs, and on Fridays this month, you can check out Irish step dancing, a musical instrument petting zoo, and plenty of other fun activities. Learn more and plan your visit at countrymusichall-of-fame.org/local-kids. Well, in case you were wondering what the hell happened to all the printers, the last printer moved out of the alley in the 1970s. But it was really a heyday for so long. But cut to January 1st, 1998. Rainbow Room had been open for 50 years. And believe it or not, 1998, I was in high school, right across town, probably running for vice president of my school on the, my campaign slogan was Yo Quiero Marie.
Yes, the ad tie-in to the dog, to the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Yes, to date myself.
I was also in student council. My slogan was, why have pie when you can have a cracker? Vote Ed Larson.
Oh my God.
Times were different. Didn't your mayor run on that same? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, your governor might have run on the same platform.
All right. Well, so back to January 1st, 1998. Rainbow Room has been open for 50 years. By this time, Skull, 80 years old.
Woo!
Bless his sweet soul. He'd be walking around in his hee-haw overalls. So he actually became a guest on Hee-Haw. So
awesome.
He really doubled down and was just such a huge part of the community.
People don't even talk about Hee-Haw, but Hee-Haw was actually extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
And it was huge. You like
best.
forget it. I actually like Hee-Haw. Like, I'm not even joking. I'll go and watch, do you remember the show Wonder Chosen?
Yes.
They did a spoof of Hee-Haw called Horse Apples.
I don't remember that in particular.
But it was very, very funny. And then we did a Hee-Haw edition of the stream once. So
yeah, and Hee-Haw was always on Nick at Night, so I'd check it out all the time. It'd be that and Laugh-In, like back to back, and it was taught me so much about comedy.
Yeah, I remember going in elementary school saying "sock it to me" like they know what it meant.
At 6 p.m. that night, a vendor came by Skulls. He was supposed to come like hang some photographs or something. And he let himself in. The door was always open. And there, lying on the floor in a pool of blood, was our boy, Skull.
No!
80 years old.
How are the
Yeah.
poodles?
Poodles were wandering around in the blood.
That's all I care about, as long as they're alive.
Yes.
The poodles were alive.
Yeah,
they didn't
then
kill
that's
the poodles.
fine. I hate when they do that. It makes me sad.
Did the
I know.
poodles kill him?
You know, no, actually, no. Unless they could have picked up a knife and stabbed him 36 times.
Whoa, bad boy.
Oh, man.
That's a bad boy.
Bad poodles.
Who gets that mad at an 80-year-old?
I am.
know.
Oh, I am fucking mad at some 80-year-olds. Oh, I'll come for some 80-year-olds. There's a bunch of them I could mow through them with a sickle. I say we line them up.
But but to a 36 stabs is really mad.
No, again, yeah. Yeah, I'm
And,
ready.
well, actually, he was sliced in the neck about 6 times, too.
Whoa.
Yeah. Apparently, a very dull knife.
Ah.
Yeah. So apparently there was blood also in the bathroom. So it seemed like the killer had washed his hands afterwards and then ran out. So, police on the scene, crime investigation, the whole 9 yards. Skull was rushed to the hospital.
He was still alive?
He was still alive until he passed about an hour after getting to the hospital.
Humans are shockingly difficult to kill. You'd
Really?
actually be very surprised. That was what Eddie Kemper, the serial killer, said, that he said that the first thing that he was surprised by was in his mind and in his fantasies, he figured that when he first attacked a woman, that when he stabbed her, like essentially you would be like the movies, that she just kind of keel over. But he discovered, no, humans are bags that leak. That's literally what he said, is that, and so that what you have to do is it actually takes a lot more energy than you'd think it would. It's pretty difficult.
Wow.
So if you're out there
Thank you
thinking
for
about
that.
it,
Keep going.
That's last podcast info right
Yes,
there.
literally just like, I guess that's my main message to your listeners. If you think you've gone far enough, keep going. That's just the truth. You never know. You don't know he's dead unless his head is gone. Just remember that.
Oh.
Well, a beautiful thing, though, is before he died, Tanya Tucker rushed to his side and sang to him.
Call the hospital! Call the fucking hospital! Stop singing!
It's like, no, I'll fly away again.
No, I heard it! It was very moving!
All right, we'll take it from the top and a 1 and a 2 and a 3.
I don't need it to be perfect! It's overproduced now!
Oh, so everyone was so sad about Skull being murdered. Willie Nelson went on America's Most Wanted
Whoa!
to try to help get information.
Whoa, he corroborated with the police?
He did, as well as Tanya Tucker. Yeah, they went on and begged people, and nobody knew anything. Other than they thought it was just a totally unprofessional, amateur type murder.
Okay.
Also a robbery of some sort. I think the cash register was open. So
yeah, but if you're going to rob a place, you don't stab that many times. So the robbery had to have come after the heat of the murder.
Normally you do that as a way to make it look as if it was a robbery. But normally that many stabs means intense rage.
Ooh, that's,
overkill.
That's good information.
That's what they call it.
Well, also it seems as though this 80-year-old man really fought back.
Yeah,
that's just what I'm saying.
Crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Have you ever tried to pin an 80-year-old man to the ground?
Yes.
You should try it.
My last lover.
Oh yeah. Because guess what, Marie? Guess what? That's what they called for you, Marie. That's called payday.
What?
Payday.
We gotta get you a nice widower. There has to be a couple
There
floating
has
around
to
Nashville.
be a sexually pliant 85-year-old man that we could get in your areas.
Yeah. If you are listening to this and you are an eligible widower, please come to the Ryman on March 14th.
Money to spend is
with
a must.
a resume. I want a full resume and
resume.
some full body shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you have a boat? That's all I care about.
You need to be able to maintain a boner once. That's all you have to do. One time. Anybody can do it.
Okay, fast forward to 2001 when fingerprints, they were able to identify two men from the fingerprints off of a hit. So they actually discovered that James Cavey and Jason Pence were the murderers.
Whoa,
And
whoa,
it's
two.
actually
Of the
guys.
presidential Pences?
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
no relation. No relation.
Mother would be very upset. He'd be very, very upset. Mother would be very upset, Mike, because if he doesn't get his milk and they have to get it, the funeral's a long process.
No relation. No relation. So James Cavey was 19 years old and Jason Pence was 26 years old during the time of the murder. And so it turns out in Pence's confession, this is sad. So he knew that Skull was very kind to the community. He offered jobs to people who were homeless. And he also knew that he would tend to keep a big wad of cash in the bib of his overalls.
Okay.
And so James and Jason met at the parking garage across from Skull's and discussed this robbery that they were going to do, and they were going to take him for what he was worth. But then it turned out, so I guess Jason Pence was supposed to be on the lookout, and James went in, and there was a scuffle, and obviously James grabbed whatever knife he could and started stabbing him because he was fighting back. And it turns out that they only actually stole $50.
That's how it always is. Crime doesn't pay.
Crime doesn't pay. But it turns out Jason Pence was only given $5 from the 50 because James said that he didn't do a good job keeping lookout. He
didn't get caught for 2 years. I'd say he did a pretty damn good job.
I think so. Especially robbing a famous poodled man. I feel like a lot of people know where he's at, and they go looking for him.
That's true.
Also, I'm not surprised it took a while to kill this man because he's been running this bar and printer. Imagine how many fights and scuffles this guy had to get in over the years in the middle of Printer's Alley in Nashville for 50 years, running up to 1998. I mean, that is some tough customers.
I think so. I think that he, in the end, maybe even died the way he wanted to. Because you'd be surprised. These guys
I like
want
to think so.
That he'd be like, I knew one day I'd fight for my life. It's just proud of it.
Well, sadly, not only did Skull die, but the Rainbow Room died along with him.
No.
Oh.
However, 20 years later, they opened it again. Yay. In June 2015, thanks to a businessman named Phil Martin.
Okay.
He opened Rainbow Room again, and so now it's there now, and it's in celebration of Skull. So they have two of his jackets hanging on the wall. They have the original checkerboard stage. They have the black and white television that Skull used to watch wrestling on. There's memorabilia all on the wall. It feels very much like a speakeasy. They have burlesque on the weekends, and they have music. And
how's the food?
It is the food is outstanding.
I'm looking at this
so
right now.
Good.
I want to go there now.
We should make sure we go when we're in town.
Yeah, that looks delicious. I absolutely, I'm on the hunt.
Good food.
I am a big ol' hog. And I just want to get in there, man. I want to get my snout in the best stuff in Nashville.
Yeah, and I'm actually, if there's time, I'll probably go to one of your animal shelters and rent a poodle. Just in honor of him and bring it.
I know.
Yeah,
bring
I
it
love
over.
that.
And we'll get it drunk.
Yeah. Oh, man, the poodles. I could get a poodle drunk in Nashville. I could do it.
Well, apparently his poodles still haunt Printer's Alley. Some people have said that they've seen Skull walking the alley, especially around the time that the bars are closing. And then also they can hear poodles barking. And then also the bar stool at Skull's today still remains the coldest spot in the entire bar. There's always a draft, and that there's occasional drops of water on the person sitting on his stool with no vent or AC above. So they have no idea where these drops of water are coming from.
Well, that's
Very
called
cool.
apportation. That's what that technically, within the world of hauntings, that would be called apportation. APPORT, which means the things that appear out of nowhere. It happens often with keys and watches and coins. People talk about, and water, things falling from the sea. Well, again, puddles of water are also constantly attached to stories of hauntings.
Yes.
It's things, apportation, things fall from the sky when you're haunted, like little rocks.
Oh,
Printer's
gosh, have
Alley
you
is
been
like
haunted?
It's like all puddles, right? Isn't it just like it's a bunch of
Just tons of puddles.
Yeah, whenever
All
I'm
these
there.
puddles.
Whenever I'm there because I don't know how to use a bathroom.
So many puddles
I'm
of
always
urine and vomit.
Do as the Tennesseans do. That's what I say. And I just let it flow.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's our story. I did it.
What
I
an
have to
amazing
thank-
story. I can't believe I never heard that before.
I want to go eat
Isn't
there.
that fun?
No, we're totally going there.
I'll take you. I have to thank Why They Haunt podcast and Music City Murder podcast for helping me figure out the history of that.
Good work.
because
You did a good job, Marie.
It's
I
amazing.
can't believe y'all do that every week.
Well,
And,
Marcus does.
I mean, Marcus does.
Yeah.
But still, y'all have to comment, know your history to at least comment on it. Like, I'm so impressed.
My brain and spirit is destroyed. So just so you know, so if you want to check out evidence of what it's like to see a hollow man strut and fret his final days, come and see the Ryman. Come and see us. Last podcast on the Left Live. He's not just some shambling corpse. He's a comedian. And he's going to do an extremely adequate job at entertaining you in an offensive way. If you
Oh my
come down to
gosh.
the JK Ultra live show.
That's right.
Well, not only Nashville, you're going on to Atlanta later this summer.
Well, we're going to,
And-
Henry and I, 2 days later, we're going to be in Huntsville doing our side story show just on that Sunday right after the Ryman. So if anyone feels like taking a drive down to Huntsville, we're going to go yell at NASA.
We're coming for NASA. We're coming for NASA. And then apparently what I love about the Huntsville people is that they were so happy to point out how due to a quote-unquote sudden influx of the German population in 1945 into the area due to its home of NASA, they actually have some of the best German food in the country. So come check us out March 14th at the Ryman and then March 16th at the Huntsville Assatorium? No, the BBC Mars Music
the Von
Hall.
Braun Center. Yeah, the Von Braun Center at the Mars Music Hall there. It's a very beautiful venue.
Yes.
I'm excited to defile it as well.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you guys, I think we done did it. Anything you want to say to the South these days?
Sure. It's going to be an honor hanging out in your former Confederate church. You know?
I want food. That's
Yes.
what I want. All
Yes.
right?
Thank you for killing all the chickens, no matter the cost of eggs.
We don't care.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
hate
yeah.
them. We hate chickens.
Eggs are expensive. Let them live. We'll eat them when they're older. Coming for you.
Let eggs grow. That's a big campaign that we've honestly been really doing. It's been a huge success for us. Let eggs grow across the country. And it's just about more chickens, less eggs.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, again, Ed Larson, Henry Zabrowski, thank you all so much.
Love you, Marie. You're the
Love
best.
you
And
too.
I love you.
You're the
best.
And I love CityCast. Congrats on your
Thank you.
show.
We did it.
Is that usable?
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And please check out Last Podcast on the Left at the Ryman tomorrow night. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!